tell him! You tell him I'm coming! Tell him I'm fucking coming!
Straight out the Brooklyn basement, it's the GodMode Podcast. GodMode Podcast. GodMode Podcast. GodMode Podcast.
Yeah. Back in it to win it. Welcome back. GodMode Podcast. Session 156. Fucking rocking it, killing it, man. Back at it again. Tonight we're going to do a beat show. I haven't done a beat show in a little bit. Time to flip some samples and do the boom baps. You know, last time was a dope-ass session using Discord, which was very nice. I enjoy it. And we're going to be doing it from here on out with certain guests, stuff like that. I still haven't exactly figured out what I'm going to be using this for. You know what I'm saying? And that's the story. You know what I'm saying? If you know me, give me a few seconds. Let me get my peripherals in order. Let me get my shares in order. And we'll share this out with the world. Since we are doing the Beat Podcast today, I'll share to more of my music groups. And still, not share to some of the podcast groups too, but now, apparently, it's limited a little bit to how many people you can, or how many groups you can share to, so why not? We'll do a couple of music ones. Of course, we're going to share the GodMode music. Where am I at over here? Somewhere. That. Yeah, just give me a few seconds. Let me get my shit in order. Wish I could do all this stuff beforehand, but could only really do it after I go live. So we'll do that. We'll do this. Basically sharing till I run out of shares. Hopefully, maybe I won't, but most likely I will. There we go. Yep. And I ran out. Alright. Good to go. Alright. Now we're cooking with gasoline. So tonight we are going to flip the sample that I actually loaded when Remy was on the podcast. Shout out Navi by Nature. Check out her SoundCloud. Kick-ass shit on there. What's going on, Kevin? What's going on, Joe? So, now, tonight, I'm actually going to flip this damn sample. Because I had it here for like 2 sessions already. But we had a podcast going, had people talking or whatever. And I didn't have time to really go in and, put a boom bap under this. But today, we're going to change all that shit. Tonight's podcast is unofficially sponsored by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Mix that shit with Coke. That shit is no joke. Yes. Really is no joke. This shit is so good. Alright, so tonight's tale of the take. You know what I'm saying? We are gonna be... yeah, man. So tonight, my tempo is going to be 180. The sample is a dual layered, so to speak. So we're going to use one for the hook, and we're going to use another one for the verse. The drum kits today are going to be my own brand of silliness. These are ones that I have put together, scouring the whole of machine. So. Most likely we're going to do that. I like that little crackle there. So we're going to rock that shit. Now, on our master, alright, we always want to put some kind of mastery software, let's say, something that controls the pinging, something that controls the vibe. So I usually use an Isotope Ozone 7. And I use a vintage hip-hop patch that I have modified a little bit. If you watched any of the episodes, I have used this patch many times, and I will use it again. So that's all done and done. Now the samples are already preset to what I like, but let me just show you real quick. Once the sample goes in to the machine, I like to go into this little plug area here, go to pitch and envelope, and I like to set it to ADSR, because when you first put it in, it's going to be on one shot, meaning you hit it and it'll play the whole sample. I don't want that most of the time, so I set both of them to ADSR, and what I have already kind of pre-layered out here, and like I said, I have two samples, so 1 and 2 right there. I put 2 scenes together already just to save a little time, because I do want to flip this fucking sample. I really like it. So yeah, man, that's the story. I don't think I got much else here. The tempo's fucking quick. The tempo's going to be 180 because this is supposed to be a trap sample, but we are going to commit some desecration today. Or at least, it doesn't even feel like a trap sample, to be real with you, but that's the tempo they used, so we're going to use it. Alright. So shit, that's about all I got right now. You are at the beginning. You are now IDDQD. Let's get it. So that's going to be our verse section. Let me let y'all hear the hook section and the intro real quick. So this is the intro. That's going to be our intro and our hook. A little heavy hitter. Alright. So now, start with my favorite thing, the boom bap. Use that. Now I want to level this a little bit. Thing I do like doing, which I didn't do yet, which is good because I can show you, is I'll raise the velocity just a little bit in the sample. So it's almost like you're hitting a button more, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it comes out fucking louder. Simple as that. We'll do the same thing for the other one later on, but right now, we'll stick to that. This shit is so good. Oh. So theoretically, this is almost a 90 tempo, because we got 180 on the board. Divide that shit in half. That's about what we're rocking. Let's make a pattern. Usually make my patterns just as, you know, everything the same length, so it's easier to arrange later. And I have found me an 808 patch underneath that too somewhere, and one of these kits will apply that a little bit later. But right now, let's get to the main ingredient. So we can see the shit. Save your project often. Please do yourself a favor. Shift, save that motherfucker. Okay? You never know when the fucking lights are gonna go out, man. I assure you. Alright, so we're gonna keep this pattern. A little simple boom bap. Now I'm gonna duplicate the pattern and I'm gonna get some hi-hats going or some shakers. Always duplicate your patterns before you start fucking with it again, so you have more shit for the arrangement. Alright? You always want to worry about the arrangement and how much you have to add and take away, that kind of thing. Absolutely. Always duplicate it because you could always go back, like here. You know what I'm saying? Even for live mixes, boom. So now just... You know, it's just the easiest way to do it. And by the time you're ready to arrange the instrumental, you're going to have so many different patterns that you can keep everything, you know, let's call it looped, but not looped, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it sounds like it's different in each iteration. What's going on, Charles? So now we're gonna take this and we're gonna quantize it. I know some people are against quantizing shit, but I'm not. Oh man, you'll learn a lot here. Ask me any questions you like, man. I don't know much, but I know enough. So anything you're having difficulties with, I'll be glad to help. And by watching this, you'll see how something goes from nothing to an arranged piece. So this may help you. Now what I want to do, I just lowered down the shakers a little bit. What's up, Charles? What's happening? Alright, so now we got some nice shakers going. Now, let's hear how this sounds with the other part. That's what I like about multiple patterns, because you can just switch pretty seamlessly. If you're on time. Hey. So that's going to be our verse right there. Make another duplicate of this boom bap we just made. All right, so pattern and duplicate, right? As your highlight the group you want first, pattern, duplicate, boom, and we got another one. I know y'all not seeing my machine and my machine jam, but in the future I do want to put some cameras back on it like I used to have on the GodMode show, GodMode Studio show, but right now I'm just pushing my max fucking limit for cameras with the whole podcast studio situation. All in time. Alright, so now that we have a duplicate, I'm gonna start deleting some of these. Them in different spots. Something like that. Could also change their velocity a little bit if you want. It gives them a little bit of a more natural sounding hit. See how that works. Just a little bit, not too much. Kind of gives it a little sway, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to go back to the one with no hats or no shakers. Let's see about a little 808 here. This 808 I got from the Layers kit in Meteoric Rise. And you can see that right up here. If you do have Machine and Complete and all that good shit, you can find all the stuff I'm using. The beat, the boom bap I put together all from Battery. If you have Battery, you could just go in there and put together some kits for yourself. Highly recommend it. Alright, so let's do a little bit of a underlying 808 pattern. Again, so we're going to create pattern button, select any one of the squares, boom, hit that shit up, extend it out to the length, which in our case is 8 bars. But remember, at this tempo, 8 bars is actually going to be shorter. 8 bars is going to be 4 bars when you're arranging. Yeah, I think I'm right. Yo, this screwball shit is unbelievable. Alright. Now, I've already laid out the 808 on the keyboard. Just hit the keyboard button if you have the new machine, or shift keyboard on the older ones, the MK2s. And once it goes into keyboard mode, I have it as my scale is called Jazz. You just scroll down to Jazz scale, and my type is altered, so that like it changes the way the keys hit. That's all depending on, you know, what kind of notes you're going for here. Play it out, get comfortable with it. Remember, there's always the undo button, there's always the scrap button. If you don't like the shit, change it, bro. This is like the ultimate way of painting with sound, you know what I'm saying? Plus, once this whiskey gets me, shit. Alright, so let's lay it out. I always do recommend that you go in there afterwards and fix it up. Some people like the natural sound of stuff, but I prefer for it to be all aligned and kind of symmetrical, because I got fucking ADD. Single it out real quick. have to make another one because I don't like how the double hits go. I don't like how the double hits go. Here the double hits go nice. Alright, so now we're going to duplicate the pattern again. It's just a lot of duplication, man. Make sure you dupe all your damn patterns. Believe me, it'll pay off. So now that I've duplicated, I'm going to take the little papangs out. So just bum, bum. Alright, so we'll take that shit out. We'll see how it works with just... over here. I'm going to correct it in the other pattern. That. Right. Okay, so now we have two patterns going. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, still want to lower down the shaker some more. Sliders on the Machine Jam. If you want to get to that menu, there's a level button. You hit level and then hit any one of the group buttons, or hit any one of the little squares, which are going to come up the same shape as the machine. So that'll allow you to either edit the main master or the actual group in question. So now I want to reposition some of these double hits. Alright, so we're gonna do bum, 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 da 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 da, 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 ba 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 ba, da 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 da, ba 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 da da, maybe double. Okay, I like that. Here, and we'll take this one out right there. And again, I'm going to mess with their velocities a little bit. Give them a little bit of a more natural sounding situation. Lowering the middle one out of the like that one, just enough. God damn. On that note, I'm going to shout out my boys at Next Gen Vape. We finally got some coils to work with this fucking thing here. I've been burning through coils like a fucking animal, so. What the hell are these? The M2 coils I use on this fucking thing. On the Cerberus. You know what I'm saying? And if y'all fuck with this shit, I highly recommend that Grand Slam. Graham Slam. It's like that cereal. Fucking nice. Sometimes though, you gotta go into these, just kind of fuck with the levels manually without using the sliders, because at times it's not sensitive enough. something in the 808s. We might just have to do like one big progression, right? So watch. Again, we're gonna duplicate the pattern. Always duplicate it. Now I don't want it to go like boom, 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 right? I just want it to go boom, 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 right? Because it kind of distracts from what's happening when you're playing this part. Your damn projects continuously. Whoa, whoa. Let's see what else I have here. Just some weird sound I found. Just decided to keep it. You know what I do want? Let's find us a nice open closed hi-hat rig. So we have the shakers and we'll have a set of hi-hats. And now the hi-hats are going to be separate from the actual boom bap patterns, so we can put them in when we want in the arrangement. Now these are all the kits that I have with my shit. Whatever you have, you use what you got. I do highly recommend this one, the Golden Kingdom. I recommend the Hardland Flow, Infamous Flow, Street Swarm. That's some fucking amazing shit. Matter of fact, let me dig through Street Swarm a little bit. See, I got a bunch of starred ones that are my go-tos, kind of. But since we're really not in need of a kick and a snare anymore, now I'm trying to raise the group up. So you press level and group, which is group F. Jack it up. Now I want to go into the group individually and lower the open hi-hat. So you hit level and the little group that appears on your machine jam. Alright. So we're going to lower that. We're going to raise this up a little bit. Alright, so now you see how this open hi-hat just always does that the whole wave. This is the shit I was talking about with the ADSR, right? So here I can show you this in action now. So right now it's hitting like this every time, right? Almost like a crash. So now we go to this plug right here. If you're using machine 2, by the way, machine 3 is dropping soon. Whoever's a machine head should cop that shit, and I'm gonna get it, and we're gonna decipher it live on these shows here. So you hit the plug here, right? You go to pitch and envelope, which I'm already in, and see it starts off as a one shot. See that right there? One shot. Right? I don't want that shit. We're gonna change it to ADSR, and now all of this is you can manipulate how long it actually plays for, etc. So on me, I kind of like it just the way it is. Right? So now we could do something like that, but I've also learned something that I call reskinning. I don't know if anyone else does this while working in any DAWs, but I'll show you guys how it's done, because like I like this hi-hat, but not too much, right? But I don't want to go sifting through all of these hi-hats and the, you know, closed and open hi-hats and shit, and then play this whole thing over and over again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay down the pattern, right, for the actual composition, and then I'm gonna start loading kits on top of the pattern that I've already created, if that makes any sense. And then just makes it easier for you to find the sounds you're looking for. So how do we do that? All right, so first and foremost, hit pattern. We're gonna make a new pattern. All right, skip it out to the length, which is 8 bars in our case. Pattern off. Now, as opposed to doing this shit, you could just go into note repeat. All right, it's too quick. All right, so now we're gonna change our note repeat from 1/8. We're gonna go to 1/4. Fucking 1/4. There we go. Simple. Alright, you just lay a pattern down like that. Alright. It sounds easy because it is. This shit is not supposed to be hard. Alright, and you can just press record right on it. Ready? Boom. And this shit's already in time, and since we got our ADSR set on the open hi-hat, it'll hit just right. Now, having said that, right, let's try to reskin this thing. Now, the only thing that may happen during reskinning is, thank you, Larry, appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that may happen when you're reskinning it is you may lose the ADSR setting in the open hi-hat. So just be aware of that. If that does happen, don't worry about it. You just jump right in there and change it into ADSR. Here, I'll even highlight it right here. When it goes into ADSR, we'll switch it from one shot right away. Alright, so let's change it. And in this way, it's real easy to find the sounds you're looking for. I'm sure there's an official name for what is happening here, but I just call it reskinning. See, we lost the ADSR. It's all good though. This works best when you're selecting from kits, specifically kits. Because otherwise you can just go into the particular sound and start choosing stuff. But since I just have such a plethora of kits, it makes sense to just feeling that right there. Fix my little mistake over here. Okay, I'm kind of feeling that right there. But it's a little low, so back into our levels. Alright, and I see see that the levels in the actual group are, in the actual kit are good, so that means we're going to raise the actual kit. Larry, almost. Play your pattern out first. You see how I played that hi-hat pattern out? So play your pattern first in any kit you feel comfortable in. In fact, play it in one that you like, right? But once the pattern itself is on wax, so to speak, then you start going through kits, because then you don't have to replay your pattern again. It'll just change the sounds, and you can choose the sounds that you like. Like, see, I'm digging this, so you're almost there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you're reskinning the pattern that you already played, like sonically reskinning, let's call it. I'm really liking that hi-hat. All right, you know what I mean? If I'm being unclear, please tell me. I don't know what the fuck you're saying, so I can clarify my dumb ass. Because believe me, I'm not formally educated. This is just some shit that I do and have done for a long time. So I might not be able to explain it too good, but I can show you. You know? I might not be intellectual, but I visual as a motherfucker. Having said that, ADSR? Alright, so ADSR works like so. Alright, I'm gonna stop it real quick. I'm gonna stop the instrumental just so I can explain this out real quick. The best way I can do it is I'm gonna go where the samples are, okay? So these are our two samples. Whoa, it's on note repeat. And here I'm gonna go into the menu, which is, remember, the plug right here. You go to pitch and envelope, and here's the ADSR, right? So when you start off and you load a sample into the machine, any sample, drum sample, fucking you beatboxing, anything, nobody cares. Okay, so you just loaded it in, right? So now you're gonna play it. See, I hit the button one time and the whole sample plays, right? I can't stop it. The only thing I could do, see how it loops over itself like that? So every time, shift choke to stop that, by the way. So every time I hit the button, it's gonna play the entire sample. Now in my case, it doesn't work too good because my sample is 8 bars long, right? So I want to be able to stop it. See, it's still fucking going. So now with ADSR, what happens is, now it's, for as long as I hold the button, see that shit? I'm holding the button now. And wherever I let go, the sample stops. Now, why does this help? When we get to the arrangement process of this, let's say you want to put in a drop. Let's say you want to stop the sample abruptly. You can do that, you know, because once you draw the line out, right, which is this line right here, it knows that it's playing the sample. But what I can do, like here, I'll show you, a little preemptive arrangement, let's call it. You know what I'm saying? Watch. So what we could do, like, I'll play it, right? And it's going to play the whole sample, but then I'm going to cut the end off, right? With ADSR, it allows you to cut the end off. And watch, I'll show you the difference. Watch this. So I'll play the beat. Ah, this shit sounds good. All right. So right now, we are in ADSR, right? So let's say I want to cut this. I want to cut the last part of it off, right? So I cut the last part of it off, and it's gonna stop at the end. Right? Now, if I had it in one-shot mode, right? Like I'll do right now, it doesn't matter what you cut. Look, I can cut the sample all the way to here. Nobody cares. It's still playing the whole damn sample. So my whole, like, you know, making a nice drop situation goes to shit. You understand? Alright, so I'll extend it back out. So if that makes any sense. off, I want to cut it short right at the end. Dun, 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 dun. Oh. You know what I'm saying? That's, like, I call those death drops. I always put them in. So I highly suggest anytime you upload a sample into this thing, you use at least start with ADSR, because it's like, I like how this whole sample sounds. I don't want to chop it up. If I wanted to chop it up, I could have, and made whole little situations of it to where I can play it. But even then, they would have to be in ADSR. So that's why I use that mode. A lot of people use the other one. It's called ASR, AHD. And you see, all it does is just kind of like, never mind AHD, man. That's for you and Google. Fuck with ADSR, and it'll help. I assure you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Alright, so now I want to get back to this hi-hat situation. I hope that explains it, honestly. It's the best way I can articulate that, let's call it. Now we're gonna go into level, and we're gonna go into the actual group, which is group F, and I'm gonna raise it up just slightly. Yeah, kind of bring it into the mix a little bit. Now let's see how it sounds with the shakers on. I don't know about this, but got it, Larry, no problem. I entertain and inform. Alright, so the shakers aren't sounding too good with it. So we'll save that. Maybe okay, I got it. We'll use the shakers for the hook and shit. And we'll use the hi-hats for our verse sections. Yeah. That sounds about right. You like it with the shakers, really? Alright, maybe I'm not hearing something. Let's try it again. So you think that for the hook I should do the hi-hats and the shakers at the same time? Have those triplets yet. There we go. There we go. Oh, I'm actually feeling that. Well, thank you, Sam. Now remember, everything we're doing here is to prepare ourselves for the arrangement. So I know everything. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yep, you're definitely right on that, Larry. Maybe we'll start off with just, the boom bap, and then we'll go right into the hi-hats and the shakers, and then for the hook, we'll stick to the shakers. Shorten them how exactly? I like constructive feedback. Now, what else are we hearing on this? Now, what I was saying is, all of this is to prepare ourselves for the actual arrangement. So I know everything's playing in 1/8 bar right now, and like sometimes it can get a little crowded here. But remember, the job is to make everything in this 8 bar. Where is it? Let me do some shit like that. Everything in here. Make sure that shit plays well with everything else, so that when you do your arrangement, nothing is going to be overpowered, underpowered, or belonging or not belonging, that kind of shit. Something makes me want to use this fucking sound. Alright, stupid. Let's try it. When stupid needs to do something. Lower it down. Just a here and there kind of thing. And really, if we want to get stupid, we'll play. No, man. God damn it, no. Maybe one. Alright. Let me stick to the program here. Also, I kind of like doing this shit, what I just did. I have everything kind of in one. This is my ADD right here. I want everything kind of on top, no skippage in between, so when I arrange, it kind of looks... Yeah? Alright. Well, let's add a filter to it. Fuck, why not? So to add filters and shit, right? You hit that sound. Okay, so you chose the sound. Right? Then you go into the little plug thing here, right here. See it? Hit that shit. And you see, now you have a window that comes up. What, of the thing or the whole thing? Right. I was kind of thinking that, but I like what Sam is saying. We probably will wind up tucking it in there. I just want to see what kind of shit we can put on it real quick, right? And a lot of times I found that using things that don't belong on it give it the most ridiculous of sounds. Let me demonstrate. Now remember, to put a patch or a reverb delay, anything. Fuck yeah! I'm almost, look at this, I'm almost done. You know what? Thank you for reminding me. I'm gonna fill my fucking tank up right now. That's what I really gotta do. Hey! I'm so happy, bro. You don't understand. For the last 3-4 days, I've been destroying coils and been getting like nothing but metal hits. If anyone smokes vapes and knows what a fucking metal hit is, please feel bad for me, because I've been burning through these fucking coils and getting like hits. And I went down to my guys at Next Gen Vape, shout them out again, because they're hooking me up with this. And they hooked up the M2 coils for me, and them shit's been doing wonders. Alright. Anyway. So, alright, to add shit, right under where it says sampler, hit that little plus sign, alright, and you got all of your stuff, so to speak, all of your libraries, alright. I like to do some dumb shit, alright, and we're gonna try some dumb shit first. I like to put something called guitar rig on this. And if anybody fucks with Machine, y'all know what guitar rig is, right? Once you pull guitar rig up, I know y'all can't see, so let me help you. Alright, so now this is our guitar rig right here. A little plug-in. we're gonna go into, let's say, like, remember now, this is the time to do dumb shit because you never know what kind of sound you're gonna get, right? So I'll go into some fucking styles, right? I'll go into something like, and this is all rock kind of guitar amplifiers. I'm gonna go into like alternative. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. And we're gonna choose one of these. Alright? Hit that shit. Nope. And nope again. So you can literally make shit sound like a guitar. Alright? Let's go into effects because this seems a little bit more. Let's see. Leads. Big club synth. Ooh, I wonder. Yes and no. Kind of just go through these. See which one sounds best to you. Kind of echoes it out. Alright. See what this one does. Big club synth seems to be. Right? If you want to see what it sounds like without it, right, you could bypass it just to see. Just by clicking on it like that. Alright? So I'll bypass it. And with it, oh, hell yeah, dude. Guitar rig, I've done shit like to where I recorded beatboxing and then I put guitar rig on the beatbox, and it's the coolest kind of changes you can do, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, let's do frequency, right? Let's just see, let's dig through this a little further. Maybe we'll come up with something. Kind of gives it a little depth. So you can find just the right amount of crazy for whatever project you're doing with this. Oh, hell yeah, man. Big flanger, okay. I think anything that borderline extends it out is something that I'm gonna like. Now, grant you, some of it's gonna sound weird. But that's the idea for crate digging for patches. See, that already kind of hides it in there. No matter how hard I hit it. Alright. Got a little too much. It's a little too matrixy for me. remember, to the actual sample if you want to. It's just that I don't feel like getting that crazy right now because I'm kind of liking the way this is going. But you could start fucking with your samples like that too, putting patches and shit on there. You know what I'm saying? And make your samples sound different. Alright. In the distance, I like that. Right, just on the eighth. Just on the eighth. Alright, you know what? I kind of like this. We're going to keep it at a distance right here just to save the crate digging. Alright, so once you got that all settled up. Alright, now we can make another pattern. This thing is going to need its own pattern. Alright. So now, find a good spot to play it. Play it right at the end. Boom. Right there. That's it. Done deal. So let's navigate out. Shift navigate to get that. Kind of correct it. So it can hit on point. Drop the velocity just a skosh. Remember now, we don't have to put that into every iteration of the shit we're doing. So, okay. Now, save your project. Continuously throughout working on this thing, save it, save it, save it. I have no idea how many of these fucking things I've lost already. Now, if I take the guitar rig off now, let's see what it sounds like. Shit, it kind of sounds decent like that. I'll be real with you. I think I might just want to keep it like that because it's already kind of tucked away because of the velocity. Yeah, you know what? But it's good. I showed you how to do it at least, so you can apply it to your own theories. Alright. My drink is running low. Let me refill my drink. And we are going to start to arrange this whole thing. And I'll show you how to do that. It's fucking easy. And you're going to have fun doing it. Alright? Give me 3 seconds. Enjoy the damn loop. Now the easiest way I have found of arranging any project. Alright, this is, again, like, I'm like Bob Ross when I do my shit. I try to find the easiest way to do this shit, as opposed to getting all convoluted, because sometimes you just want to get the idea down, you want to get it arranged. And through doing like a year of these shows, I want to bring an idea from a sample to at least an arranged out instrumental in one sitting. Alright, so having said that, the easiest way I found of arranging is kind of figuring out the format that you want to go into. In my case, I'd like to do an 8-bar intro, 16-bar verse, 8-bar hook, 16-bar verse, 8-bar hook, and loop it. So now that we have this thing all set up here, what we're gonna do is copy and paste it to the length of the instrumental, and then start subtracting shit and switching shit to get the flow of the whole thing. Simple as that. So let's do it. Now, I like to keep it in navigation mode when I do it already, so once it gets to a point where, you know, it stretches well beyond here, I can just hit one button and it brings it back in view. So let's do it. Right click, duplicate. So 1, 2. This is going to be the intro. So verse 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, first hook. 1 and 2. That's the first hook. Alright, 4 more for the next verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last hook. 1 and 2. So now you have something that looks like that. Alright. Now what I always like to do is at least prototype run a verse over it, so to make sure I'm right. Most of the time I am, sometimes I'm not. So, because when you're doing different tempos and shit, so like this should be a verse right here. Forgive me, I haven't wrote a verse in a while, so I'm just gonna do one of my old ones. And you just want to kind of make sure that the length is right. Right? Okay. So, run through your verse when it loops. It's that New York, banging straight out the rotten. Listen to these shook motherfuckers, guess they forgotten. Bronx invented hip-hop, New York called it rap flow. Was bar paid, copywritten, timestamp reinforced. Moving volumes through the city, call it MTA. The underground on politic, they just pull up and spray. King of New York is the Empire State, and anybody can test that, catch a stray. My flow's from the Russian gutter, my instincts invite me with criminal come-ups. It's all relevant, cause this infection is imminent. Soon you're gonna find a little more pie in your jeans. Hope you read between the seams, homie. Johnny is coming and I'm bringing the devils on me, so the have-nots are taking everything we ever wanted. And if not, we drop shell. Boom. So now I know that's just a tested and proven 16. So now we have a 16. Now I know my count is on point. So now I got an 8-bar intro, 16-bar verse, 8-bar hook, 16-bar verse, and then an 8-bar hook. Now y'all do however y'all want, you know what I'm saying? I just like to format it like this for the show. It just makes it simple. Now, having done all that fun shit, now we're gonna want to take this and highlight the whole thing. Alright? So the first thing we're gonna do is switch up the actual sample. Because remember, during the verse, we're running a different sample. Alright, so we're going to change that up like that. Now later on, we could change these back, you know what I'm saying, depending. Alright? But right now, just for the arrangement purposes, I want to get it to the point where the verses and the hooks are different. Now, while this is rolling around, I'm going to start working on the intro. So for the intro, I don't want nothing except the sample playing. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to take out everything there. Alright, we're going to take out the drums. We're going to take out everything. Alright, then we're going to build on it. Build on it by leaving, let's say, the bass drum, or the bass drum, the fucking, the 808 to build on it. Where the fuck's my 808? There's my 808. Alright, so that, and we'll take that little thing, we'll take that out of there. So, like, effectively, we're going to start something like this. Now, we're going to add more stuff to it, but remember, now we're just trying to make it take shape. I like short intros. Whoa! So now, how do we want this to start, right? Do we want it to just drop straight in? Now for the hook sections, I already know that I do want to drop the hi-hats. And then I'm going to drop afterwards, right? So we're gonna change this right here. We're gonna change to no hi-hats, right? So you see this thing starting to take shape. And it's more subtraction than addition because I already have everything I need. That's where all of these patterns and shit that we've created, that's where they come into play, right? So again, for the hook here, we're gonna take out this, we're gonna make it like that, you know, and once we have something decent put it together, we're gonna start, see, like right there, right? There, I might want to take the hi-hats out as well. Okay, so the hi-hats can go here. Now that I changed all the damn colors around, there's the hi-hats. Okay. Alright, so we got that happening, we got that happening. Now here, we're going to do a very important thing real fast. Really important thing, patterns, set that up right there. Gonna be 8s, boom, 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 right there. Alright, so right there, so bear with me. This is my, this is gonna be a little egotistical, but as a beat maker, if you're not, then I can't help you. Let's see how that works. And then we're gonna start doing the verse.
God mode.
There we go. Now our verse is still kind of this chunk. Alright? I'm kind of, in this one, looking like I'm doing the hooks first. And just for production's sake, I usually put a hook at the beginning, like that, and a hook right at the end, because these instrumentals go directly to SoundCloud after these sessions. So GodMode Studios, check me out, see all the tracks I've made. There's shit, almost 190 of them, so I'm going strong. Okay, so that's gonna be our hook right there. And da, 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 da. Okay, now here, I still want to take the hi-hats out. Yeah. Okay, now. I would like to start each verse off a little like kind of little heavy hitter like. So we might do just the boom bap, right? We'll even take the 808s out of it, right? Take the fucking hi-hats out. Just remember, you got 4 squares to work with here, so it's, and then we're gonna modify them to do def drops and all that kind of shit. See, like, I like how that sounds. I like how that sounds. Whoa! And now I looped it so the intro's excluded. So it's just gonna loop right around. So we'll get the idea of what the verse will kick in like now. Oh! Yes. Contrast in between where it ends to where it kicks in with the 808's pretty nice. So remember, all I'm doing really is subtracting. So that's why it's very important to make all this shit at the beginning. Okay, now, here I'm gonna take out Thank you, Sam. Appreciate you. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. Alright, so here I want to take out, right here, so I want to take out the shakers. So I want the second verse to come in with just hi-hats and open hi-hats and shit. Alright? Hey. Hook right there. I like that sharp contrast. And we're gonna do def drops to where we're gonna stop everything and let it drop into shit like that. Okay, so now let's see when it loops back around how our first verse is coming along. Maybe remember now, this is the most important time to continuously save your project. You're making a lot of changes and shit, so you want to make sure everything is saved. Save constantly. Shift save should be your best friend. Right here should be a def drop. Stop. Boom. Alright. Oh, by the way, guys, if y'all like this, I totally would appreciate a subscribe on the YouTube channel, GodMode Podcast. If you could. If not, fuck it. Enjoy the music. Figured I'd give that a little public service announcement. Hey. It's time to do our first def drop, and this is where ADSR comes in handy like a motherfucker. So here we go. Now when you're gonna do a def drop, remember you're modifying the patterns that you've already laid out here. So the first thing you want to do, duplicate everything you're about to modify. Okay, so duplicate the orange, duplicate the yellow, and now, my dear friends, you start cutting shit out of those duplicates and hoping for the best. This is where that ADSR shit starts paying you dividends. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna loop it back to that spot, so bear with me. And I make a few of these def drops so that I can pick and choose. But right now we're just creating the first one. one more other thing I do want to do before I forget to do it. The first incarnation of this sample. Haha. I appreciate that. Now here, this part here, I want this shit to fade in. Now, how do we do that? Alright. So what you're going to want to do, well, first off, before I fuck up, duplicate the pattern. Alright, now that the pattern is duplicated, you copy and paste this onto a different sound. Alright, delete the original. Shift undo, by the way, in case that ever happens to y'all. Delete the first one, we don't need that. Now, from our pattern, we're going to go into sampling. Hit the sample button on the machine, hit the edit button. Alright? The whole thing is highlighted already. See right down here, this shit says fade in. You could also do it via the machine by selecting fade in and then hitting apply. So, boom. So now it's a fade in kind of situation. My YouTube channel is GodMode Studios, GodMode Podcast on YouTube. You type that shit up, I'm the first one that comes up. Here, I'll type it out. That right into the search engine, and I will be the first one to come up. So now this is what it's going to sound like now that we've done all this. It's going to go across all the 8 bars. Because the sample is actually a bit longer, as you can see. But I like this section of it right there. So, I mean, no, that's a fade in. I took the same sample that we were using for the hook and I faded it in. See, that's just me fading in. Parts of it are reversed. Parts of the sample are actually reversed. Whoa! I like how that comes in. That's real angry like. Now I'm just switching up a little bit of where the hi-hats do the triplets in the verse. Okay, so that should have been on. Bear with me. On that one little vibe in the transition. Right there. Boom. Right. Right. This is what we're looking for. Okay, now. So I want to do that same thing to the one next to the second hook. Hey. Start. Now we can use the patterns that we've created for a short drop, and you can just plug those right in. So let's find it. Let's come out of sampling so we can see what's up. Excuse me there. Alright, so that's going to be our short drop right there. Now I have to create a short drop for the hi-hats. We got to create that short drop for the hi-hats. So again, we're going to take that same pattern, duplicate it. Alright, and then we're going to take off the last bit of hi-hats. And we might keep that little thing on there. See how that sounds. Anything that aggravates you in a drop, always just delete it. Because you want the cleanest drop you can get. That's the sound you want to make when this shit goes right. I wonder though, with this. Let's extend the intro out to its actual length. Let's just see, because obviously I cut it short 4 bars here, but let me see. Just for shits and giggles, right? I'm going to take this pattern and I'm going to extend it to 16 bars. Which is an actual 8. Okay. Alright, and then we'll take this whole thing out like that. Because that'll give it a steady kind of fade in. Now I could just fade in half of it, but that works. In a way that works. Alright, so you know what we're gonna do? I'll tell you what we're gonna do. I'll tell you exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna take pattern number 2, which is gonna be our 808s. We're gonna duplicate it. We're gonna take our beat tag. We're gonna duplicate it. Now we're going to place them in that intro section. Right? Now we're going to get rid of the first part, which is going to be scene 3. We're going to delete it. Why, you ask? Allow me to elaborate. So now, you're reason I'm doing this is because I want the fade in to be smooth. So what I'm gonna do is that. Draw one in like this. Now remember, I've duplicated these already, so they're not gonna change across anything. And I'm gonna delete the front half. Alright? No, I'm not. Undo. I forgot to do one crucial thing. See, sometimes
God mode.
the fucking liquor gets you. The one thing I forgot to do is double each one. The green and the purple, I have to double them. So let's go in and do that. Pattern, and instead of duplicate, double. Boom. So what happens is, now there's a double of it. Alright, so I don't have to do that extension. That. Now I just delete the front end. Boom. Now we're going to do the same thing with the beat tags. Pattern. Double. Alright? And then you delete the first one. Okay? So now let's play it from the beginning and see a nice smooth fade in. Bass.
God mode.
See what I mean? As opposed to it being like partially coming in and then, you know, kind of smoothened it out there. I think I want to play with some of these hi-hats. First verse did not have the 808s here. Second verse does. That's how you differentiate just a little bit. That works. That works. And when you're building these, remember now, when you get to a point where an artist wants these, you can go back to this whole thing and customize it just for them. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna take the hi-hats out right there. Right. Yes. butter screwball Coca-Cola. Try that shit. Okay, now here, where it does that triplet at the end, I don't want that. Okay, we'll switch that. Here, we're going to want to add that. See how that works. Remy's in the building. What's up, Remy? As DJ Navi I was talking about. Look up her SoundCloud. Navi by nature. She's got to come back and do another episode. It's mandatory, Remy. So if you remember that sample, Rems, flipped. Whoa! Okay, so at the end here, I want to take out one of the last shakers. Now remember, duplicate the pattern. Even for something as minute as deleting one shaker, duplicate the pattern. Hey! Alright, I do want to build depth drops into this to where everything stops. There's something in me that just won't let me do it. Or like, won't let me not do it. So, to do that, again, just duplicate everything that you're planning to depth drop. Alright? So in my case, we're going to do this part, which is scene 5. So I'm going to duplicate everything in scene 5 before I start screwing with it. So hit pattern, duplicate the orange, duplicate the yellow, and duplicate the green. Start trimming them back. back a little further. I'm just going to play it right from there. Stop the bass earlier. Trimming to where you get to where you need to be, to where it's enjoyable and not aggravating. See, something like that, right? I'm gonna go one more little piece back just to experiment. Let's go one more back. Take out the last kick drum. Take out the last kick drum. See how that works. I'll go further back. I think we're going to keep that right there. Another death drop in the second verse in a different spot. Savior Project continuously. Ooh, that hit nice. That hit nice. Alright. It's about that magic time for me to fill this cup. Have a bowl real quick. I shall return. Loop that right from the beginning. We'll see if we can add something else to this mother scunt. funny story.
God mode.
My boy asked me to kick the shit out of his Bentley today. This is the only time I ever hold a Bentley key in my hands, alright? Fuck, do I even flip this shit out? I'm living the Bentley life, living the Bentley life. Fucking thing is ridiculous. Old one though, 2006. What the fuck did I call it? Spur? Something Spur. All I know it's a W12. Fucking animal. Wish I could take it for a ride after this, but this peanut butter whiskey says nay no. I have noticed a discrepancy in my little brakes there, so I think I'm gonna try to chop that just a little bit back. Hey, outside of music, I'm into cars, and that's how I got this fucking Bentley here. Alright, let's see how that works. Cut it back just a little bit more. Okay. I gotta go back just a skosh more. I'm gonna loop it to where it goes from the verse. So after this hook, it's gonna go right into the verse. Whoa. Let's see how that drop off hits. Come on. More. I need more. We're gonna get it. Better to take the extra time than to not. Ooh, I'm starting to slur. This is good. Peanut butter whiskey. Screwball. I recommend it. A little more back. So help me God, I'm gonna get this drop. Good thing is on both drops, it's the same patterns that I'm editing, so both of the drops are are going to be edited at the same time. So once we fix one nice, the other one's going to get fixed nice automatically. Snare drum. And a little bit more of the bass, the 808. Just that little skosh more. Gamble and cut the sample back just a little more. But we're right there. Welcome back, Joey. Whoa. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Welcome back, buddy. Caught me on the finishing lane. another snare drum off. I guess it's just the time. Prime time. Night time is the right time. Whoa. Now I'm gonna cut back to 808 just a skosh more. I'm gonna wind up with like nothing in this bar. Yes, and that right there is going to be our piece for tonight. I think this is a good one. Listen, thank y'all for so much for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for being a part of this instrumental. If you like what you heard, please, please, please drop a subscribe to the GodMode podcast channel on YouTube. It's literally the only one when you type it in, which is something I'm proud of. The track is going to go live onto SoundCloud right after this podcast, so you can check that shit out in good quality. Jam out with it, doing whatever you're doing. And most likely you're going to catch me here either tomorrow or the day after doing the same shit, unless there is a guest coming through to where we're going to run the podcast mode. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. And as always, motherfucking peace.